Hey everybody, Adam Tracy, and there was this interesting decision that came out of Nevada state courts last week regarding Coinbase and their pursuit of prediction market. And obviously, people in Nevada, regulators, have every reason to want to shut down prediction markets because they basically emulate gambling, right? And like you can go on Kalshi or what have you and see like you can literally place bets on a game. And so you have this intersection that I wanted to talk about between what a prediction market is and what constitutes gambling, right? And what the licensing requirements are and how they intersect. So basically, Kalshi, right, and Coinbase and these others that are following, they're designated contract markets. Their license is designated contract markets by the CFTC under the Commodity Act at a federal level, okay? And that allows them to create what is basically a futures market. And the nature of a futures market is you can have any number of contracts, right? Let's call them bets in the context in which we're talking about, provided there's a buyer and seller, right? And like if you want to compare it to the real world, you can have as many, March corn futures as there are willing participants to go on both sides of the trade. So that's how it works, right? It's not like buying a share of Tesla, right? Where there's a certain number of authorized shares and you can only buy up so many, right? And that when you hit that authorized max and issued, then that's it, right? Absent them amending the articles of incorporation and creating more shares, that's it. There's a limitation, okay? And the futures market is different, and yes, it's bound by you know in the actual hard commodities, it's bound by the degree to which there are actual oil and corn available, but that's another story for another time. So you have this market that goes, and that's why you can sell your contracts at any time, right? It's like as long as there's a meeting of the minds, that contract exists. Now, gaming, right, which is regulated by the states, okay, and there are some like federal gaming regulations like the Unlawful Internet Gaming Act, which I've talked about before, but that deals with payments to and from offshore casinos and sportsbooks. Gaming is regulated by each state, right? And you've got, something like 30 some odd states that have now created gaming licenses. And obviously they want the revenue, okay? And so Nevada steps in and says, well, we have all these sports books that are making a line on the Bulls Lakers game, and Kalshi's doing the same thing, but it's cheaper. Well, why is it cheaper? Well, on a sports book or even casino, you're playing against the house, right? They take their vig on the bet and they go away, and that vig's pretty high. And then in some states where they tax it, they add surcharges, like Illinois, it's like onerous. So there's a lot of money at stake, okay? And because of the intersection of state and federal law, Kalshi and others and Coinbase can exist, right? And they can create these markets. But the difference is this: the prediction markets are actual futures exchanges, right? Regulated by the federal government. Yes, it is gambling, right? And if you talk to anybody, including myself, who has traded even professionally in a different life, futures, it is gambling. Like it is far more risky than betting on, the Super Bowl. Like it's crazy. And, you know, that's the argument to say, well, it's a game, you know, it's supposed to be regulated and brought under state level gaming laws, but it's not. Because at the end of the day, the primary difference is this: if I'm on a prediction market, no matter what I'm getting into, I'm betting with you, right? If I want to buy the Bulls and you want to sell, you want to buy the Lakers, boom, we have a contract, okay? I'm not playing against the house. Yes, Kalshi, Coinbase, they'll take a fee, right? It's minuscule, but I can't bet unless there's somebody else to take the other side of the bet. Now, gaming, right, which, sports gaming, it kind of falls outside of this game of skill because you have people that clearly do this for a living, and it's like it is a game of skill, right? Not a game of chance. But you're betting against the house, right? You're betting against the actual casino. And that's the difference, right? So I'm betting against you, and you set the line. You control basically the price of that bet as the casino, and then you take your fee, win or lose, right? So at the end of the day, it's markedly different, right? The game of skill, game of chance, all that stuff doesn't even matter. And you can get into federal questions and say, it doesn't matter. Prediction markets, and I've talked about how they work and set up here many times before, they're out there as actual futures markets, license regulated futures markets, just because you can place these bets on sporting events, it doesn't change the fact that it's a futures contract that you're entering into and creating. Whereas gaming, you're walking up to a window, your counterparty setting the price, it's take it or leave it, right? That's the odds. You can't change it. And if you win, guess what? Yeah, you get your money plus X amount, but they still take a fee, right? And that's obviously the impetus for going after it. But that's the intersection, and that's why it's different, right? And the downside, I guess, if you look at it and say, well, I'm only going to like bet sports on a prediction market is, well, you know, one, the array of bets is obviously going to be less. But two, there's only so many bets you can make because you always have to have that person on the other side. Whereas the casino will take every bet you want, right? As long as they're making a line and a market on it. So that's a limitation, but at the end of the day, it's completely different licensing, and it's completely different licensing because the nature of the bet is structured so fundamentally different than your average $10 on the Seahawks to win the Super Bowl. So that is the nexus of where this like dispute is coming from, and not just Nevada, a bunch of other states, but it's also something to consider when you're thinking about, you know, gaming license, prediction market license, and DCMs, which is a whole nother video, and I'll get into and how that goes about it. But I'm Adam Tracy. You know where to find me. Talk to you next time. Cheers.